Right. Welcome to the space, our fellow Zimbabweans. Welcome to the space, fellow Africans. And again, as we always emphasize to everybody, that the hope we have, us and our children and our children's children, let it be the same hope they have all others and their children and their children's children, those whose homes we will never know and those whose nations we will never visit. For the hope of a Zimbabwean child must be universal, because this is about our people. This is about our country. And this, again, is yet another day as well as another hour that we meet to discuss these issues with all. Right. So we have had several times Comrade Geza, for example, talking about the signal, promising that the signal is coming. We have had this. Our discussion today is going to be centered on what is the signal? What is the meaning of the word signal? Who is supposed to be giving the signal? Where is the signal? Is the signal there? Because the 31st of March is just about around the corner. So you would expect that people perhaps should be knowing the signal, or should they not be knowing the signal at this very hour. So this is the discussion that we need to have with you, my fellow compatriots. Right. So in my introduction, let me highlight to you that there was indeed a signal in 1980 before Zimbabwe got its independence. Before 1980, we had people such as, if you read in history, we had people such as Bishop Muzorewa. We had people such as Reverend Dabaningi Stole. We had people such as Dr. Joshua Nkomo. We had people such as Kenneth Banana. We had people such as former President Robert Gabriel Mugabe. These were the leaders that were there leading the revolution for a free, independent, expected to be prosperous Zimbabwe. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have, we are having, I mean, with bated breath, we hear from, Comrade Gaza, that the signal is coming, but there is a date that has been given, the 31st of March, which is supposed to be a date upon which a revolution is supposed to take place. But then, looking at the reality of those things that we have had from others, the signal that we had in 2017, somebody can claim that there was a signal. There was a signal of a war of Gukurahundi in 1983. There was a signal of the Unit Accord in 1987 between ZANU and ZAPU, which brought about ZANU PF. There was a signal as well in 2008 when Morgan Tsvangirai got the highest votes in a plebiscite in Zimbabwe. And the changeover of power did not happen. I think many of you may remember that there was a runoff that was called, and a lot of violence took place on the streets of our country, Zimbabwe. And eventually, Morgan Tsvangirai had to run away to Botswana. And by the time he came back, there was, a signal that unity was supposed to be born out of the process. And the GNU was born with Morgan Tsvangirai, between Morgan Tsvangirai and President Robert Mugabe. In 2017, in 2017, when President Robert Mugabe was removed from power, I think there was, without a doubt, again, some people would argue that there was a signal that change was going to happen with the then Vice President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa being removed from the position of Vice President, precipitating with, the army stepping in and restoring legacy, so to speak, with SB Moyo coming over to ZBC, announcing that the situation had reached another level. And we saw a change of leadership in ZANU PF and in the country, Zimbabwe. Today, it is we are in year 2025, And we have seen in the previous weeks and the previous days, Blessed Gaza coming up and promising also that there is going to be an uprising on the 31st of March this year. So, having had that long history as Zimbabweans and having experienced so many developments in our political history, uh, what is the signal? Is there a signal today that on the 31st of March there is going to be an uprising that can change government and change leadership in Zimbabwe? This is the discussion of today, and I'll be here anchoring as the host. And I want to thank Zulu for joining me as well. On the co-host position. Zulu, welcome to the space. Are you able to speak now?
No, not yet, my brother. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you, Zulu. So you're still at
Nice.
work, and thank you for working hard for yourself and working for your family. Right? We are so proud of you, Zulu.
Thank you so much, my brother. Welcome everyone um, for joining us. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, you can
All right.
continue. I'll be ready maybe in 30 minutes as I
All right,
do.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. So at this particular moment, I'm joined by Vanessa as well as I know it all on the speaker position. So reading from Lynn Sosia, writing on her timeline, this is what she had to say. I've put it on the jumbotron there. Those who might want to read. Unless somebody gives me a sound strategy to stop the 2030 agenda, I will support the brave old fella who has sacrificed his peaceful last days on earth to save the masses from perpetual looting and bragging by one family. Whatever happens, I will still have respect for him. He stood up when it was unfashionable. You can rubbish him all you like, but in Zimbabwe politics, politicians hardly talk about corruption. It is the masses who do so because they are suffering. So the reality is that the masses of Zimbabwe, indeed, as she states there on her tweet, are suffering. It is also true that Comrade Geza has come up to give so much hope to this haggard, population of Zimbabwe. He has come up with words, and I will be analyzing, the situation in a very balanced manner, subjectively and objectively, and well, the reason why we have to speak about these things is because the 31st of March itself is just around the corner, and it might be necessary for us to give a proper analysis of the situation as it is unfolding in our country. But let me, before I start engaging with the topic in a manner that I should be engaging with it, that is by focusing on what the topic is saying there. Let me find out from Venancio. Venancio, welcome to the space. I know it all. You are on the speakers. Welcome to the space. Let me start with you, Venancio. How are you today?
Can you guys hear me? Just to confirm.
Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing today?
I'm good and you. I'm good and you. It's been long since I've joined either Zim I space or your spaces. But on the situation, like I just read what Lynn Stetcher just said about with the issues regarding the Gaza revolution, and yeah, it's true. The guy is commendable. The old guy is speaking what he's taking a stance in a otherwise difficult environment to take that particular type of stand. But I wonder if the horse he's backing really does have any other type of strategy. Here's why. So he's backing and he's putting his weight behind Chiwenga, right? And I need to be clear, unlike Hulu or any other person, I'm not gonna be balanced when it comes to ZANU PF. I hate it with all my existence. But we need to look at Chiwenga here. Chiwenga, in order for him to win this factional battle, he has to create a perception that he is a competent opponent. And in this case, ever since the arrest of Blessed Mhlanga, what is this, Blessed Mhlanga Dara, or so, the journalist got arrested, we haven't seen any some sort of a political maneuver or muscling in from Chiwenga faction, or even some sort of a type of demonstration to show that we are behind you or we can protect you. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they used to project their message. But at the same time, we kind of see that Chiwenga faction kind of like just let Blessed Aram Shanga just to be in jail while he's taking photos and smiling at Amazon Nambozo Mnangagwa. Now, in order for you to win this type of battle, in order for you to even buy the support from a person that is like me or any other type of a person that might hate ZANU PF but just want to cause confusion, I think you have a burden to prove or a burden to show that you are a competent political horse. I mean, there's the same reason why we are not saying Chamisa, Chamisa, because we've known that that's a dead horse. It's never gonna rise. But when it comes to Juenga taking pictures with this guy, I think it fails him completely. And I think that is gonna impact the response to the signal. There is something that should be done about Blessed Dharam Klanga. And if there's any of Chuenga's guys that are listening here, I think you have to understand that's the opinion that is spread in the street. Because at the end of the day, at a point where the Zimbabweans actually feel as if the police or they could be stopped or they could end up in jail, and this guy will continue clicking pictures at the airport with Emerson Nambozo Mnangagwa. And for some reason, a lot of people have been making prediction that Mnangagwa was in a weaker position. But when you tend to try to be objective about it, you tend to see that there is seemingly kind of like a weaker faction here, and Chiwenga's faction is weak. Not to say something rather bad about Geza, but Chiwenga himself. I mean, look at Chris Mchangwa. He's uttering venom, not venom, but degrading human waste on Chiwenga, and nothing happens. Look at people like Ziambi. Look at Mswere going countrywide, actually pushing Chiwenga's faction. At a point, you are looking for a pushback, of which is not happening. So when it comes to the signal, and when it comes to what Lynn Stasia said, the signal, what you're saying, the effective of it is based on what the people would feel about it. Because the Geza faction hopes to employ Zimbabweans to achieve their success. When it comes to Geza, yeah, he is a commendable old guy, but I think that Chiwenga might as well just watch him go to prison, unfortunately. That is my part for now. I wonder if
All
anyone
right.
feels the same way.
All right, thank you very much. For those that are just joining us, thank you again for joining me, Hulu at Pachiso Live. And, well, we have a duty to our country to report facts to our people and to ensure that our people get the knowledge that they need for decisions to be made upon that knowledge, which is part of information dissemination to our people. So we are asking the basic questions. What is the signal? And where do you think the signal should come from? Who, is supposed to be giving the signal, and why do we need a signal? And especially that we have a date on the 31st of March, where Comrade Blessed Gaza had already promised that there is going to be an uprising. Is that the signal that is needed for the uprising to take place? Is he the source of the signal that is needed so that the uprising takes place? Is it where from where he is and distributing this information? Is it how it can happen that the signal can come to Zimbabwe? So I will, of course, be giving also my analysis on this, and those who are students as well of semiotics and semantics, where is JT? Yeah, brother JT. Those who are students of semiotics and semantics as well, it may be necessary for them to study the words. Of Comrade Geza. Let me I'll be sharing with you some of the words, but I think you have heard also a lot of his pronouncements, including the word bullshit. It has been used several times in his submission. So for those who are coming up, to speak, I want you to take note of that. I've been studying the words of Comrade Geza, and one of the words that is always coming up is the word bullshit. In his presentation, and we will of course be also looking at that, analyzing that, and making sense out of why does he tend to use that word, and is it a significant word? Is it a word that can also be lumped together with the signal that people are waiting for or the signal that people are seeing? What about the 31st of March? It is just round about the corner. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, I know it all. Welcome to the space. How are you today?
Thank you so much.
I know it all.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How are you, my
I'm
brother?
okay, brother. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And yeah, welcome. Do you think you have the signal now
Uh,
when it comes to, because the 31st of March is round about the corner? What is your take on that? Please go ahead.
yeah, okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, zvandangotaura panapa, I think hatinyazotora nyaya iyi serious. We should be more extra careful nenyaya. Because tikaita zvekutamba togona kushandiswa senge zvatikaitwa pana 2017. Because I still remember 2017 Mnangagwa akabuda and then vanhu akabuda munyika vanhu vakakuti ndiye chaiye achazotibatsira achazotibvisa patinoda kubva kuti tisvike pane patinoda kuenda. Saka I think ndo situation iri kuita build up apa. Po signal togona kuti aiwa rege tise chiwenga ndiye ari nani. But chono chatambisirwa dzimwe 12 years from now. Which means kuti kana une 25 anogona kuzobva ane 37 because akapinda pachigaro achada kupedza term yaED ozotama elections wo-rigged dzimwe 10 years. Saka nyaya yesignal iyi tofanira kuti I think tofanira kunyatsowirirana tonyatsoonesa kuti what's the plan chii chikuitika tikati alright rege tibvise Mnangagwa chii chaitika takabvisa tekesa chiwenga munovaziva vanhu vezano vachangoriga futi and then kana vapinda vanovati chinhu chedu chichichi. Saka tofanira kunyatsoita care futi tiri kuenda pamastreets tinostrika kuti tipinze chiwenga and munomuziva kuti akapinda chete atori ma1. So yeah, as much as tikuda ngoti paite change pabviswe paiswe mumwe munhu but inogona itori strategy yakatorongwa nezanu zvese zvikutoitika izvi kuti aiwa takaona kuti tangopinza mudhara pasina action yamboitika anogona kushaya popular vote. Saka ngatitonge tikuda ngatiplane something kuti timupesveredze kuti apinde kuti panopinda ngaitonge popular vote or anything vakatozvironga kudhara naMnangagwa. Saka tofanira kuti kana takuenda mustreets tichafanira kutaura kuti isusu sevanhu tikuda zvakadai so tikuda kuti zvakadai zviitike and then towirirana kana vanhu pachitokwaniswa kusaindirana pasi tosaindirana pasi kuti no izvi ndo zvatiri kuda kuti tisashandiswe futi because otherwise tichawesitirwa dzimwe 13 years or 14 years from now, which means kuti kana tiri kuma 24 25 tichaenda kusvika takuma 30 something. Saka tofanira kunyatsotora zvinhu serious. I know kuti maage edu mayouth akawanda havasi kuzvitorawo serious but this is a serious matter. Itori serious story. I don't know kundo emphasize sei but itori nyaya serious but tofanira kuzoti signal iyi zvichafamba sei. Yeah, for now I think ndo zvanokwanisa kutaura. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The hope we have, us and our children, let it be the same hope they have others and their children and their children's children, those whose homes we will never know and those whose countries we will never visit. For the hope of a Zimbabwean child must be universal because this is about our people. This is about our country, Zimbabwe. And this, of course, is another day in another hour that we meet to discuss these issues. So the questions are very clear. Who should be giving the signal? The questions are very clear. Where should the signal come from? The questions are very clear. When should the signal be given? The questions are very clear. How should the signal be communicated? The questions are very clear. Why do we need the signal in the middle of the second term of President Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa? By the way, we need to know that in 2023 we had an election, and the result declared President Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa as the president of the country up until 2028. So here we are. Do you think that we have the signal? Do you think that the 31st March Zimbabwe Uprising is going to happen? And the signal that is there right now is enough to make it happen? What are your thoughts when it comes to that topic? Let me welcome Kevi And I also see MacD, your network is a problem. Please sort it out and come back and speak. So, Kevin, welcome to the space. Do you think that the Zimbabwean people now have the signal?
I don't think so. How are you, Mr. Ulu?
I'm very good, I'm very good. Please go ahead.
I don't think Zimbabwe have got the right signal. It is good to have someone who sees like how the majority thinks, because with the majority that is crying about the rule of law in Zimbabwe, there is like the likes of corruption and some other stuff that other ZANU-PF members are crying about. That is the whole majority of Zimbabwe, they are crying with the same thing. So I think it's not a good signal because it's coming from the same people. Because now there is a thing like factional fights from ZANU-PF, the likes of Geza and his crew. They have a faction. They don't want the 2030 agenda. What they want is Chiwenga to be the president after 2028. And Mnangagwa seems as if it's not enough for him to rule only for 10 years. He need almost 12 years, otherwise more to 2033. Because I'm not seeing as Mnangagwa is going like only up to 2030, he's going to take 3 more years up to the third term. So I don't think it's the right signal from Mr. Geza. But at the other end, it's good because with the likes of people like Wikino Chivayo, Scott Sakupanya, I think there's a lot of guys who are doing deals, and those deals are not benefiting the country. So that is why the whole country and the other people who are not benefiting from ZANU-PF, they are crying. They don't need that 2030 thing, because there are people who are hiding with the 2030 thing to benefit, like in their businesses. At the end, we have also the opposition members of parliament who are benefiting, who are going to benefit, and the 2030 agenda, because their term limit is going to end in 2028. And if they have 2 more years, they are going to benefit from that, because they already know they are not going to be re-elected again in 2028 due to Nelson Chamisa thing. So I don't think it's the right call, but we have to do it and we have to accept it, because we don't need the corruption that is happening in Zimbabwe right now. Thank you.
Yeah, Kevin. Thank you for that. Let me, Vanessa, I'll be coming shortly to you. Let me just go to the principal. Is it the principal?
Oh,
What, the Prince of Dotito?
okay.
The Prince of Dotito, welcome to the space, my friend. How are you? The Prince of Dotito, are you able to speak?
Yes, I'm able to speak. How are you, Uncle?
I'm very good. How are you doing? I'm not Uncle Jared.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, but yeah, okay, I respect Uncle Gerald and I respect you. I respect everybody else. You know, every Zimbabwean. I respect them. But well, yeah, you know, because we host these spaces, it is possible. You know, I have had people calling me Uncle Gerald, like on the space. I say okay, no, Uncle Gerald, it's not me. All right, but then yeah, we are talking about. Uh, do we have the signal now? The 31st of March, the Prince of Dotito, the 31st of March is just around the corner. Do you consider yourself to have the signal now?
It's um, it's $1 million question, apparently. I think from the perspective that we've seen over years that from 2017, I don't think we've had what we can classify as elections. In other words, they were coronations. So what is clear in Zimbabwe is that the leadership change does not come out of an electoral process. the leadership changes actually comes from the military. I've said before in other forums that Zimbabwe is a military state, and what people think is ZANU-PF a political party. It's actually not a political party. The ZANU-PF you see is like the public relations department of the military. It has got no power. So in other words, the power resides in the military or other quasi-military organizations in Zimbabwe. So what you are seeing that is happening in ZANU-PF is the noise that we want to extend a term of office for the president to 2030. But we all know that the guarantors of power in Zimbabwe are not ZANU-PF, the political party, but are the military architecture that over the years has moved into the de facto government or the de facto ZEC, as it were, the one that will then announce who wins a power contestation. And this power contestation in Zimbabwe doesn't happen within the electoral policies or procedures. It happens outside those. We happen to be in that season again where there is a power contestation. And the framing of this one at this moment is that there are those who are saying the president must extend his term of office to 2030. And others are thinking, oh, they want to then extend to 2033. Whatever the case may be, they want a term extension. They do not want an election. And that is in keeping with the culture of the military architecture that there are no elections when they coronate a leader, either to extend or to say, here you end here. There is no extension of your term. That does not take ZEC, that does not take any election. It just takes the military architecture that runs that country to either agree or to disagree. So, what we are seeing are symptoms of a power struggle, possibly within the deep state, in terms of there are those that are saying the president must continue. Obviously, those are the ones who are benefiting. I do not think that the ones benefiting are in the military. I think the ones benefiting are outside the military. These are your which we can call Shigananda and all that. But these are your Wiknoch Vios, your Scott Sakupwanyas, all these guys who make a lot of noise and flash their money out for all of us who are poor to see that they have a lot of money. That is the group that is going with an extension. And I believe in the background they are trying to buy the military. It was happening during Mugabe's time, and I don't discount that such a thing is also happening at the moment. Then you have got the side where Gaza is. And at this point, you can't say Geza is with the army or is not with the army or is not with the military, but he is one of them. So these guys, they know each other. And I think this is simply a contestation of power between the most powerful elements within the military architecture that we then construe as ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe. And we are in our season of our military elections as opposed to the civilian elections that we always do. So this is the season when we'll have a new leader or we continue with an old leader that we are going to anoint. So this is what is happening at the moment. I do not think 31 March is an end in itself because these are military people. There are things that they will be observing. I think they know each other very well. So whether 31st March succeeds or fails, I do not think it is the end of ED and the beginning of General Chiwenga. But I think it is the beginning of the end, okay, or the beginning of a start for a new dawn. I think that is what we have. Ultimately, I think, and in my calculation, that by end of this year, possibly our country will have a new leader, anointed by the military to run our country. That person could be ED, that person could be General Chiwenga. But I believe, given the levels of corruption happening in our country, Chiwenga might just edge it. Thank you.
All right, Prince of Dirty. So very soon I will be engaging with the speakers that are on the podium. So expect me to be asking you a few questions, the Prince of Dirty, so that we can put our topic into an analysis mode. Well, shortly I'm going to be doing that, but let me just go to MacD. MacD, what is your take so far? Do you think the signal is there? Do you think the signal is coming from the right place? Why do we need a signal in the middle of a second term of President Idi Mnangagwa? Go ahead, uh, MacD. MacD, unmute yourself and speak. What's the full name there? That's Gary. MacD Gary. Please speak.
Yeah, thank you for the
How are you? How are you? How are you, Gary?
yeah, yeah, but what I want to say, this
Ah,
guys,
Nazo bawa kami Gary. Urim bawa erewe. Noisy essay.
okay, I'm okay, but I was in the public transport, so I'm now, let me contribute but just want to say, these guys, they should openly come to us. Because on this day, even if I ground, looking at the
Gary, 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 can you move to the right place, please? There's a lot of noise coming from there where you are at. Is it not possible for you to move a little bit? Yeah, we can hardly hear you. There's too much noise around you there, Gary.
Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, are you hearing me now?
We can hear you, but there's still quite a lot of noise around you, which is really, making it difficult for us to hear you. And are you? Is it impossible for you to move to a corner somewhere?
Okay, let me move a
Okay,
bit.
let's see.
Let me move a bit.
Yeah, move a little bit. Let's see if we can hear you.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, this guys might openly come to us and saying, we should contribute. Sasa nakuta wazapiri kuda hii siku tusikire. Except, what I want to say is that, sasa toda sisi Zimbabwe ngira. Kana wakabvisa iye Mnangagwa wakamubvisa. Sisi toita chienda, rinopedza chienda yaMnangagwa. Kana takuenda kune Nyika, you should disclose it, right? If you look around, people will think, no, party can move, and it's then that's not true and say election. I don't got choose them around, choose them around. Let's say, I don't got to Mira. But it's no friendly for people to be that's my contribution anyway.
All right, Gary. I think we did manage to hear a little bit there. And despite the noise around here, I think we did manage to hear a little bit. So you can mute your mic now, Gary. Mute your mic. You can mute your mic so
Okay.
that it doesn't create an echo. Thank you very much. All right. So for those who are just joining us, we are asking the basic questions. Who is supposed to be giving as any signal if there is ever a signal? Gary, please mute your mic. Mute your mic, Gary. Just press the button. Okay. All right. So, where should the signal be coming from? When should this signal be given? If somebody is going to tell Zimbabweans about the 31st of March uprising, it is just around the corner. Uh, I mean, is it the signal? I mean, the information that has been given already by Comrade Blessed Gaza, is he the right man to be giving the signal? How should that that signal be given? Why do a signal in the middle of the second term of President Edim Nangagwa? Right? As I'm asking this, I will be engaging the speakers. For now, I'm listening to the speakers. I will be engaging with them and asking them a couple of questions and finding out what they have to say about this issue. And in particular, let me emphasize as well that in most of the speeches that have been given by Comrade Blessed Gaza up until now, the word bullshit has been used in those in those submissions. What is your take if you're a student of semiotics and semantics? What is your take in terms of the use of that word? Do you think that it is appropriate? Do you think that it means something? Do you think that it is relevant? Do you think that it might mean something? Of course, again, in the context of Nelson Chamisa himself stating that he has not had any communication with Comrade Gaza. But then we'll be ventilating all that and analyzing all those words. Okay, let me just move again to the speakers. Kevi, I see your hand has been up. I'll be coming to you shortly. Don't worry. And Venancio as well. Your hand has been up for quite a bit. So, Mzwandile, welcome to the space. Before I just go back again to Venancio and Kevi to hear if they have got some contribution, and from there, I will be engaging the speakers with some basic questions that I'm going to be giving them. Right. Okay. So, Mzwandile, welcome to the space. Sean.
Yeah,
Sean,
hi,
just
Gulu.
unmute yourself.
I'm
Good.
here.
There we go.
I,
How are you,
I'm
Sean?
all right. Sorry, man. I stepped away from my mobile device.
That's fine.
I'm
No
not sure
problem.
if
How are
you
you
had it.
doing today, Sean?
I'm all right, Gulu. I'm all right. It's just another weekend, eh? What else can we do?
Yeah, true. And the questions are there. Do you think by now you have the signal?
I no, I don't think we've got the signal. I don't really, I don't know what's going on, really, to be quite honest with you. I think to be my own opinion, just judging also on the sentiment on the ground, because a lot of people don't know what's happening. We're not hearing any whispers. So is whatever signal going to be an event, and from where is it going to come from? I think that's the question that perhaps a lot of people have. So yeah, I don't know, but I do agree with the prince. I actually wanted to come and ask the prince like two questions. But I do agree with him when he said that he doesn't think anything spectacular. Like it's not going to be a season finale. Perhaps it will just be maybe a couple of sprouting, gatherings here and there. But I also don't think that's going to be that's going to be the event that will sort of usher in a new dispensation or a new government. I'm not quite sure. I'm also not, and also, sometimes Hulu, sometimes when two sides are fighting, and one side says I'm going to do something on in a particular date, sometimes it's a trick. It can be a ploy to see what the other side is going to do. What are they going to do if we give them 7 days? Or let's just see if they'll call our bluff, as they say. So it could be that it could be one side taunting the other side to see how they're going to react. What are they going to say? Who are they going to send? It's like a game of chess or cards rather. I'm going to play this card because I want to see what the other side is going to do, and and like along that premise. But yeah, I actually had two questions, Hulu, to ask the prince. I'm not sure if I can ask because that's why I raised my hand.
Yes, you can ask. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The prince. So I had two questions.
Okay.
The first one was, do you what does and I'm taking into account what you've said. and what you predicted might happen. You said end of
Yes.
this year that we probably might have a new government, and I just think all fingers point to Chiwenga. I'm not sure how familiar you are with ZANU PF politics, with the ZANU PF dynamic, like in politics, really. My question to you is, what does a ZANU PF look like under Chiwenga? Because he's a military guy, and I'm not sure if he has built up any political base. Do you think perhaps what the outbursts we see from the Mtsangas and the Chinamasas is because they don't know where they'll be in Shake building? Because I'm going to assume when Chiwenga comes in, he definitely does not want people making noise at Shake building whilst he's at Mutapa as the leader of the state. So what does it look like? Are we going to see military people coming in into ZANU PF, and are we going to see a reorganization, or are we just going to see, the figureheads, the Mchinguris and all these other people and the Obet Mbofus being kept there? Then my second question, Prince, is, do you think both sides will come to a point where they're like, look, um, to the victor goes the spoils, but whoever is going to come out victorious will be wounded with 2028 coming on the horizon? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll start with the last one where you say 2028 is the horizon. I always make this point. Those elections where we elect the harmonized elections are of very little significance in the body politic of Zimbabwe, simply because the power matrix in Zimbabwe does not take into account that there will be power transfer induced by losing elections. This system, if you go and read the Mgagao Declaration, where the Zanla High Command, the people led by Tongogara, then met, it is clear that after assuming power, the system that will continue to run the country is the system that time. But obviously, when they came, they had to set up a political party. But remember, this was a military organization. So, for all intents and purposes, and we may run away from it, Zimbabwe is a military state. So 2028, the ZEC harmonized elections don't matter when it comes to changing the actual power matrix. You may change your members of parliament, there, your councillors, etc. But the actual executive power cannot be taken or transferred by using the electoral process. I want to come to where you are saying, if Chiwenga wins, what happens? I'll give you this. Mugabe was not a gorilla, as in he didn't take up an actual gun to kill enemies during the war times. Neither did ED. The people clamoring for Chiwenga to come are saying this generation of nationalists who did not actually take up the gun to fight have let us down by importing certain people who are now corrupt within the system. Corruption that almost like sinks a country. You see, so that's that you guys, you are now taking Chivayo, you are now taking Scott Sakupwanya, you are now taking Kudata Gwire. These people have no history, A, in ZANU PF, or B, even in Zimbabwe as a country. But you have, parachuted them to the top echelons in terms of the hierarchy of thieves or hierarchy of thugs. So that is the main bone of contention. I think the model that they want to implement is one where the power of the president is not contested. B, bring in a bit of youth to run the ministries. So, for example, they want I'm not sure whether to call it prime minister or what, but someone who will be responsible for running the economic machinery of the country. And these guys like retain power at a higher level where they then delegate. To think that after winning power, they will then say, let's have free and fair elections. The system does not allow that. But it can allow that you have younger people running ministries and being operatives so that grow economically. They think the best security we can have in Zimbabwe is that we grow the economy, and the economy, is for everyone. Yeah, obviously they will be there as like the top crop. Obviously they will have better benefits than many, but the current situation where just a few people, less than possibly 10, have 90 to 95% is untenable. I think the economy has to devolve to the people. That's the model they want. It has to devolve to the people. But to say,
All right.
for example, it's not in the book.
All right, Prince. All
Mm.
right, so let's hold it there, and let me just move to the other speakers as well that we have. We will still be hearing your thoughts when it comes to this. For those who are just joining us, we are asking: do you think that the signal is now there? Do you think that Comrade Geza is the right source of that signal? How do you think the signal needs to be given? And why do you think people need to get a signal in the middle of the second term of President Emerson Mnangagwa? So this is, of course, in relation to the 31st March Zimbabwe uprising that has been promised. Do you think we have the signal right now? Vanessa, you want to just have a second bite of the cherry? And then Martin, I'm coming to you. And Mike, I've seen you have just joined us as well. Kevi, your hand is up. We will be talking about it shortly. So, Vanessa, since you're coming back for the very second time, I want to find out from you. So, Comrade Blessed Geza says that change must take place, and that change is supposed to be the change where the vice president, the army commander, former army commander, must be able to take power in the government. Do you think that Comrade Gaza is the right person to issue that kind of a statement in terms of potentially having the change happen? What is your take? Do you think he is the right man to issue such a statement which can result in a change of government? What is your take on that, Venetia?
Well, Hulu, let me say this. We need to, in any ideal nation, this you wouldn't be even relevant in this debate or in this discussion to actually make the calls or even call on the president to step down. That would be treasonous or that would be off. But to frame it down to the dysfunction that is called Zimbabwe, in this case, I think we can make some sort of contention that to say that okay, he is the right person to actually call for such action to happen in society, and here is specifically why, right? Within the Zimbabwean citizenship, the Zimbabwean citizens or the general public, we tend to see that people are not focused on things that matter the most, like things that are going to decide their future, specifically the politics within Zimbabwe. So what I mean here is this: we simply just go with the wind. We see people like Scott Sapkanya owning these football clubs, and no one is boycotting, and no one is going to like to say that we're not going to watch or something like that. Or that the society seems to be in agreement with what's happening in Scott Sapkanya, a murderer of Pastor Tafmani Messiah. Look at, for example, in USA. Elon Musk, the moment he started trying to touch in the government, the people reacted by actually punishing where it hurts the most. A boycott to tell him that we're totally not cool with you trying to stay or trying to touch anything within the government. You're not elected, you are not nothing to do with it. So, in that context alone, I mean, the Zimbabwe, in that context, for anyone that is in a strategic position that wants to cause harm in ZANU-PF, you would support Geza, because at the end of the day, you can't rely on the public that is called Zimbabwe to actually maybe make a call or that type of a particular signal. In that case, so I believe that, not believe, but I think that it is relevant in this debate to make that particular type of a call. Whether it's Chiwenga or not, now that depends. Like I said before in my past utterances, that say that Chiwenga might not be a strong contender, but I think Geza as well within, he is doing something that an opposition that has been missing should have been doing for quite some time now. Political education, perhaps, to the people. These are the things that are now being uttered by Geza. I'm not sure if you are getting me there, Ulu. I'm
Yes,
not
I
really sure,
get you.
but
And you see,
that's my point.
in order to flow properly with our speakers, I would suggest that if it is possible, we go with one question at a time and try to exhaust it, and then we will move to the next question. So the question I'm asking now is, Comrade Gaza issuing that statement of the 31st of March. That on the 31st of March there is going to be an uprising. I'm asking a basic question. Remember, he is saying that the uprising is supposed to usher in the leadership of the vice president. I'm asking a basic question. Is he the right man to issue such a statement in terms of a statement that would have an impactful, I can say, kind of authority on the ground in Zimbabwe that can lead to people actually responding to that statement? This, of course, is on the basis of, if you listen to most of his submissions, Comrade Geza, you see the word bullshit has been used several times. I'm gonna move to the another word, but then this is one word that I want people to zero in on. What is your take when it comes to his submission itself, which is full of this word bullshit? Do you think that he is the right man to issue a statement that pronounces that the VP will have to take over? Is he the right man for that statement? I'm asking that question, right? If he's not, who is it, sorry, that you think could be the better guy to to provide a statement that people can be able to resonate with on the ground? I'm saying this because of some of the points that I will be sharing with you as we go with the discussion. So, for those who are just joining us, welcome again to the space. Thank you for joining me, Hulu at Pajiso Live. And this, of course, is about our people. It is about our country, Zimbabwe. And this is yet another day and another hour we sit around to discuss these issues. So, Financial, hold on it so that I just go to the other speakers. I'll be coming back to you to deal with that statement. So, Kevin, wait a bit. I'll be coming shortly to you. Let me also just go to the new speakers, right? So, welcome, Beauty, welcome, Bike Vanity, and welcome, Gono. Let me start with Bike Vanity, and then I go to Beauty, then I go to Gono, right? Bike Vanity, welcome to the space. How are you today?
I'm very fine, my brother. How are you?
I'm all right. Do you think that the statement about the 31st March Zimbabwe uprising is coming from the right place?
My brother, I don't know. I don't know. Let me say I'm one of them. I'm sitting on the fence, but I'll explain the side I'm leaning towards, if you understand, if I'm clear on my position. Right. We've got a double problem in Zimbabwe, my brother. The double problem that we have is that we are divided, and the division is brought, one, by the opposition, two, by ZANU-PF. Right. Now, let me first attack the first angle of the opposition. The fact that the opposition has managed to convince the masses that they are the messiahs of Zimbabwe has created a division in the sense that people have now get attached to opposition, which is non-functional, that has been idle. And I'll give you a very, maybe an illustration that maybe can amplify my point in this regard of the opposition. You are traveling in a vehicle, going somewhere, you have agreed with a group of people, and there is a leader on the steering that you are going for a holiday, let's say so. And along the way, the opposition or the leader or the one who's on the steering has just decided to abandon the vehicle on the side of the road. You are sitting there, 5 of you, and the guy just got out of the car. He does not tell you where he's going. He took the keys, and here you are just sitting there in the vehicle, trusting that this is the guy who's going to take you to a holiday destination that you have been planning for all these years. But the guy is not doing anything to tell you what is the problem, what is his plan, why is he abandoned the vehicle. Now, that is the situation that we are finding ourselves in as Zimbabweans, that we got attached to an opposition that we think is the messiah, but the opposition that is doing nothing at the moment. Right. Now let me flip to the other side of this third one first. The third one first is coming from an angle that we are not at all favorable. We don't favor that angle because it's coming from the side of the people that have been tormenting us for years. But let me tell you one thing: a good politician is a person who can speak to an extent where you forget his sins of yesterday. This guy who's giving a signal is a guy who has been part and parcel of a group of people who have been tormenting us. But he has got to a point where he has convinced us that he has got a way out of our problem. Now we are caught in between. Where do we go? Now, when I listen to all what people are saying from the day this guy came up, Geza, is that people are divided, people are confused. But I see more people leaning towards supporting Geza in the sense that they don't have any option at the moment. They can't go for another day seeing Wicknell dishing out money out of corruption, out of the pain of Zimbabweans. They can't wait. They can't wait to see that being stopped. They can't wait to see a clueless president being chased out of the office. But that does not mean that that's what people want. But it's because people do not have an option right now. If you say you're not going to support that one first, what is the option? Are you prepared to see Wicknell going on with what he's doing? Are you prepared to see Mnangagwa, a clueless president, executing pain on our fellow people who are still in the country as we speak? And even us, we are outside the country. We are still feeling the pain because we see what is happening each and every day. So, for me, I'll conclude and say, I'll land on this point. For me, here is my conclusion. I will support Geza because this is the only thing in front of me. It's unpurified water, which I have been told that it might cause disease to me, but I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty and I've got no option. And I'm going to go with him. Maybe I'll survive for another hour before the sickness comes again. And maybe along the way, this guy who just abandoned the vehicle is going to come with the plan because he has just abandoned the vehicle. We don't know where he is. We don't know his plan. So yes, for me, I will conclude and say, I don't like Zampief. I don't like Geza because it's been part and parcel of the people who've been torturing us. But he is the only guy with the plan at the moment to destabilize the pain that I see each and every day of a man who is rubbing against us. The pain of Zimbabweans. When you see Wicknell, what he's doing, he's rubbing on us. The pain of, you remember there's no hospital, there's no medicine in the hospital. When you see what this man does, you remember there is no education. When you see this man, what this man is doing, you remember that there's no employment. When you see what this man is doing each and every day, I can't wait. I can't wait. Maybe Geza is going to stop Wicknell. He's going to stop Mnangagwa. Then we deal with it. Then maybe the opposition is going to come back to the vehicle and take us. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike Vanity. That is your submission. Beauty, welcome to the space. I want to find out from you, do you think Comrade Geza will be the right source of the signal in light of some of the words that he has been using in his submissions, words such as bullshit, for example? And if then he's representing the vice president, do you think that the vice president will be happy to be associated with such kind of words in his submissions? And I want also to find out from you in terms of the issue of Comrade Geza. Before he started on this, on this journey that we now know, did you know Comrade Geza before that? Because he is, without a doubt, a decorated war veteran coming from the War of Liberation. And after 1980, Comrade Geza, as far as I know, never took a prominent position in our government. That made him, resonate a lot with many people, and where it became possible for people to judge his capacity, judge his abilities, and etc. etc. But here we are. He is here, and we take note of the things that he's doing and the things that he's saying, and we need to give a proper and balanced analysis of the situation, because 31 March is not very far away. Do you think he is the right source of the signal, that signal which promises that the VP is supposed to replace the president in the middle of the second term of the president? Uh, for those who have been, requesting, please come up and, fix your network. Those who have fallen, and then we can be able to hear a multi. Yeah, we want to hear from different individuals on the topic. So I'm just bringing up both Solani and bringing up Venanzio up again. So Beauty, go ahead.
Alrighty, thank you, Hulu. I don't think Kuti VP Chiwenga needs anyone to speak on his behalf. If he's aiming on taking on over from ED, I'm sure it's a simple process. Sevanhu vakauya vese vachizvigadza umambo. So I'm sure he has his ways and mechanisms of doing that without anyone speaking on his behalf. As for Comrade Geza, I think nema credentials ava takaudzwa nawo mutsvangwa. I think he is a very seasoned ZANU-PF player, and he himself has alluded to his seasonality within ZANU-PF. So I am not there to judge who is ZANU-PF and who is not. All I know is that ZANU-PF in its totality must go. Saka zvese zvimwe zvese izvi itai henyu vamwe tinenge tichingoti oh that's bullshit, we'll just sit on the sidelines and watch. Or perhaps maybe tingatoya hedu kuzoita ma-cheerleaders, but then hatina benefit zvokucheerleader vanhu vari kurwisana pasina chedu. The thing is, Zimbabwe, as it stands, we have been told that ZANU-PF is ruling it, and ZANU-PF is ruling it through the military. Military is ZANU-PF, blah, blah, blah. We've been told this jingle since 1980, right? So now we're now being told, the military wants to take off someone, and yet we're told in 2018 the military reacted and they decided to give us ED and it. So now the same military yakareacta yakutadza futi kureacta here kuzotipa umwe munhu. Well, maybe that's the way they change rulership, I don't know. But what I know is for civilians we need civil rule. What we need is our civil liberties. We need to go back to the rule of the people, the power of the people, the power of the pen, and away from the power of the gun, especially considering Kuti, we, the people, do not hold guns. We do not have access to guns. Saka, why should we allow people with access to guns to change the rulership without our say so on who goes into power and how they go into power? We need to take back control as people. And yes, there's this concept within a concept, that first March, once they let us out, we stay there. We're not going to listen to them. We get our own thing going once we're on the streets. Kungofuriwa mukana. It's just an opportunity for us to go on the streets. Yeah, we also had that same concept on the 18th of November 2017. Let's go on the streets, we'll stay there, we're not going to listen. But hey, we ended up hearing chini chedu, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, A, B, C, D, and we were pushed out. So at this time, I think it's just a matter of people are going to observe. The public, I don't think the public is necessarily taken to the Geza movement. They've taken to the idea of it, like they like the idea, they like the story, but I don't see the public coming out on the 31st. I don't see people putting their lives at risk on the 31st for Geza or whoever else. I just see people staying in their houses and saying, Amen. Tichangona tichapera sei, zvichasvika kupi. So I don't see anything changing, to be honest. And I don't believe this movement is our revolutionary knock, knock, knock. Let's all go. Let's get things done. Let's get things changed. But however, let those that believe what they want to believe, because at the end of the day, it's all about people's choices. And we are there to promote choice, nothing else.
All right, beauty. And so, for those who say that, Geza himself, Comrade Geza, is not that important or is important. The issue is that's the reason why we are having this discussion. Munya, I see you. Zuze, I see you. I'll be bringing you up shortly as soon as I create space on the speaker position. But then, the issue, ladies and gentlemen, is what about if VP Chiwenga comes up before the 31st of March and says, I am in support of Comrade Geza and I am encouraging people to get onto the streets for this uprising? Do you think that the situation will become different? The reason why I'm asking this is because of my main question. Do you think Comrade Geza is the right person to provide a signal for an uprising for the 31st of March, especially speaking on behalf of a sitting vice president? What is your take when it comes to this? When do you think the signal should be given? How do you think the signal is supposed to be given? And why do you think we need a signal in the middle of the second term of President Edim Nangagwa? If ever the signal is something that resonates with the majority of Zimbabweans, as Beauty has just stated. She's saying many people seem to like the idea, but having to go onto the streets on the basis of Comrade Geza's word could be a mountain to climb. But you know what? We here, the speakers are here. We must be able to listen and hear what they have to say. So let me just go to Comrade Chimurenga. Comrade Chimurenga, welcome to the space.
Was
You have heard.
was I not the
Oh,
next in line?
it's gone. Oh, sorry. It's gone. Oh, sorry. And Gono, sorry about that, my friend. Please go ahead, Gono. That it's you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Basically, I would say, personally, in my own analysis, Geza is the best person to be the one calling for the demonstration. Number one, he has proven to be brave. You need someone to lead by example. Then number two, I think people, they just listened to Geza recently after he announced the issue of trying to subvert Emerson Mnangagwa from the position. But there were a lot of interviews 6 months ago when he was at HSTV, and I think this would help people to understand that Geza was one of the people who played a pivotal role in the previous 2017 political impunity we had. On that coup, he played a pivotal role. He goes on to say, he also contributed to 4 million. He was the one who went to the barracks, met with the generals to see how much they can try to make this possible. So he's one of the people who played a pivotal role in 2017, and he's the right person also to address to do the corrections. Then number three, I think now we needed a person who is able to address this issue above partisan politics. The ability to unify the people of Zimbabwe above partisan politics, despite your opposition or you're from ZANU-PF. That's the kind of the struggle we needed. And Geza has done it very well. Most of the people, they would come and say, we are doing this or want to do this, but they would do it under a partisan politics. And partisan politics has been a factor that has been used to disintegrate the people. We need the people to be united upon a common goal, and Geza has done it. Number four, one of the things people need to understand is this is not about the people. We need all the stakeholders to make sure that we produce the desired results. This includes the inclusion of the security sector. You know, no matter how much people try to do it, and if you do it without the support or any parody from the security sector, it won't be possible. And now we can see that Geza is one of the people who is managed to make sure that even the security sector, you can tell that the security sector is there, but you cannot tell to what extent. But that ability to encroach, to incorporate the security sector, that's one of the factors that makes Geza one of the best people to run this thing. Then I would also want to say, you know, running a struggle, Geza said this is an uprising. It's different from running what we call political rallies and election mood, whatever. It doesn't need to be a commissar or an organizing secretary. It needs to be a commander. So when you are running a war as a commander, it is not possible for you to be understood very well, clearly by the people. Well, the moment the people understands you clearly, it means that the opponent is managed even to understand you clearly, meaning to say she'll be able to neutralize, contain you as a threat. So, you know, people need to understand that this is not the same like what the likes of Chibai or the politicians do. This is being a commander of a war. This is war. So it needs, that's why he used the word, there's a word he used, that decoy, right? Even when he said that one march, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily that the day of the march, no, but they are going to decoy the enemy. You need to be unclear, you need to confuse your enemy. And if you need to confuse the enemy, you also need to confuse the general population. So I would say, Gez, that's the right person, and I would not be worried about the words he uses. He's a commander. We are in war, right? He's not a diplomat. He's not a politician. He's not someone who needs to understand how do I need to say these things purely or in a diplomatic manner. He's a commander. He needs to be in that emotion that makes sure that he produces the results. And so far, he's done actually better than the rest of the people. So I can say Geza is the right person to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And Gono, what I'm going to be doing, because we have got people who are requesting, I would suggest that you may go to the listeners and the request again. Stay there on the request. I'll bring you up because some people would want to maybe challenge what you have been saying. I've got a lot of people, so I just need to make sure that they also come up and they make their contribution. So for those who are submitting, you can just drop yourself to the listeners and keep yourself on the request. We'll bring you up again so that you can be able to to make a contribution. So, well, let me move with the speakers. I was now on who again? On Comrade Chimurenga. Kevi, sorry, before you, Comrade Chimurenga, let me just go to Kevi. Kevi has been with us from the beginning, and his hand has been up. And I think his submission will probably be a bit short because
Yeah, I'm not going to take
he probably
too
wants
much
to
of your
clarify
time.
something. Martin,
Yes,
what are you saying?
what I'm saying, I told you on 31 I'm going to be there. I'm going to Zimbabwe. I'm not living long from Zimbabwe. I'm living in Mozambique, and
All right,
I've
Martin.
been supporting Morgan Sangrai. I support the Chamisa, and I wear a yellow suit because I'm feeling the burden. I'm feeling home because I'm supposed
Mm,
to feed my mother who's 85 years old and is blind. Is more older than Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa his ideas from birth, I don't know, is not good. Mnangagwa,
All right, Martin.
if Mnangagwa is man enough, he must just leave Zimbabwe.
All right, Martin. I didn't call your name to speak now, but I think you have made your submission already. It seems like your network is not very balanced. Martin, can you still hear us? Yeah, Martin's network doesn't seem to be very much excellent there. So Martin, we hear you. We commiserate with your mother that is 85 years old and is blind. And we hope that through your good effort, you can continue to look after your mother and make her life better. And we continue to hope that our country can be able to provide us with the services that can also be able to help those who are elderly in our community, such as your mom. So, Martin, thank you very much for that. We will put you on the listeners for. Okay, Martin, do you want to say something quickly? Martin. Okay, so Martin, we cannot be able to. I cannot be able to hear you. So we are going to put you on the listeners and bring other people up. So that we have this discussion with more people. Comrade Chimurenga, welcome to the space. How are you today? Chimurenga?
Good evening, Ulu. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
How are you doing
I'm
today?
fine. How are you? How are you?
I'm very fine. So the majority of the people agree that people are happy with the statements of Comrade Geza. People share the pain of a Zimbabwean. They share the pain of a 2017 that did not deliver what people expected. They share the shame of seeing Wicknell Chivayo dishing out money without even any non-workers. They share the shame of our soccer team playing outside of the country, even though we have been independent since 1980. They share the shame of roads such as the Bait Bridge, Victoria Falls Highway being in such a dilapidated state and with no plan at hand to deal with basic things such as our healthcare facilities, which are collapsing in our very eyes. This, Comrade Chimurenga, is the state of your country, which is my country, which is our country. Uh, do you think that the signal given by Comrade Geza is significant for our country today going into the 31st of March? Go ahead.
Thank you, Ulu. Thank you very much. It's unfortunate Zimbabweans, they still want lies, they still want things that are not feasible. We still believe.
Sorry, Comrade Chimurenga. I just want to tell Kevi that before Boss Solani speaks, I will be giving you a quick one because I had mentioned that you are going to speak. You have been with me from the beginning, Kevi. Hang on there. After Comrade Chimurenga, you will then have to speak. Okay, no problem. Comrade Chimurenga, go ahead. Sorry about that.
All right. So the issue is here. There are two different things that is happening in Zimbabwe. There are people who have been eating since 1980 until the day Comrade Robert Mugabe was removed from office. It's unfortunate those people, they didn't invest wisely. They didn't develop even the country. They opted to put money outside the country. So today, like Japreza says, Kanamai Manya, Makasarei, look at the statement. Means a lot. People are crying, not on the corner of Zimbabwe. When Comrade Bomb Geza started these interviews with Blessed, He was more worried about his affair. He wanted a big car. He wanted security guards. He wanted also to be part of Politburo. But from what I know, you get into Politburo because your province is also chooses you to say, no, we've got leaders here who can represent our provinces, because in Politburo, people are doing with proportional representation. He could have been to the other apex board, which is above the Politburo, which is led by Comrade Sekramai, but he's not part of it. I don't know for what reason. Comrade Gezo Vagaraswa before 2017. If I can say 2017, I'm lying. Way back, I think he lost the track during the 2008 time. He used to be high figure. If people don't know, that guy used to be rich. He used to be driving those S600 when it was still something to say, oh, someone is driving in the S-Class. That was Comrade Bombshell for you. So to say he's setting a proper signal, his war he's fighting for has been hijacked. That I can confirm. Comrade Bombshell never read. He was doing his interviews. We call them raw because he was not reading from any script. These days he's reading from a script, a prepared script. Sometimes for me to take him serious when he's trying to, the last time he said, no, these people, they're saying Emerson must go. They want Chiwenga. They're lying. Even Chiwenga, they don't want him. Now he's saying, no, Chiwenga, ndotakuda. Ndeakunopinda. Comrade, power, hapana munhu anobuda mupower achida kupinda mupower. That thing people should know. Already the VP is in power. Nothing stops him to do whatever he wants to do in Zimbabwe right now because he is in power. And no one wants him out of that power within ZANU-PF or within the current head of state. So to say Comrade Chiwenga must come and lead, he's already leading. He's already part and parcel of the decisions that are being done in Zimbabwe. People think a country is run by a single person. People must know it's totally different. He's already inside.
Are you suggesting to our audience, Comrade Chimrenga, if you say he's part and parcel of of what is going on in the country? There is a speaker earlier who spoke about the role of people such as Wikno Shivayo, the role of people such as Scott Sakpanya, the role of people such as Kudakwashita Gray, just to mention just a few people that many consider to have benefited unfairly to the several tenders given by our government, creating a country where the economy now revolves around simply
Ulu,
a very
Ulu.
few number
Let
of
me
individuals.
hold you
Are
there,
you
Ulu.
saying that? Are you saying that the VP is also considering Wikno Chivayo as his son?
Ulu. Let me hold you there. There is no way.
Just briefly, Comrade Chimrenga, 60
There
seconds.
is no way a $200 million or $300 million tender can be given to a person month in, month out to one person in Zimbabwe. If you don't know the power matrix of Zimbabwe, then people should not allude to things that they assume happens. There is no power that Wicknell holds such that he can be getting tenders day in, day out. There is nothing like that. You can't.
All
It's
right.
totally.
All
It's
right, Comrade Chimrenga.
it's not. You can't do that because there are
All
very
right.
powerful people behind. You're talking about Comrade Geza. Comrade Geza is not the only commanders of the liberation. There are also commanders of the liberation who don't speak. They speak behind the scenes. And when they speak, their voices
All right.
speak. You understand? Mm.
Okay. All right, Comrade Chimurenga. W- Yeah, we have heard you now, and we just need to involve others so they can be able to present as well. Is it
I
okay?
wanted to finish and say, people also want to take this thing as a similar, like 2017 issue. It's a totally different issue. It's people who are still fighting HE. HE has been fought ever since he came into power, and people have been fighting him in business circles. They tried to sabotage. They've been doing that, and others, some of the people who are on front to say we are doing this are the same people who wanted him dead in 2017. So people should know what they're getting into. I thank you.
All right, Comrade Chimurenga, as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, it is also important to note that, the Mbudzi interchange is still not yet completed. There's still work in progress there. It is also important to state that the Zimbabwe national team is playing football right now in Uganda and in South Africa, outside of our country. Our football stadiums are still incomplete, but at the same time, Minister Kester Coventry has been appointed the president of the International Olympics Committee, the IOC. And a lot of congratulatory messages from, across the board, political spectrum, have been sent to her. And we have also heard, that Wicknell himself got robbed after he got married, and he offered 100,000 US dollars to anybody with information that can assist him. And we are talking, of course, about the banking sector in our country. Many are afraid of putting their money in our banks, a reality for many Zimbabweans across the board. So, this is a developing story. And of course, the 31st of March Zimbabwe Uprising, do you think the signal is there enough? And this is the type of signal that can make people go onto the streets to replace a sitting government. Right, Kevi, before I go to Bosalani, come through.
Okay. Let me just like I can just explain it in short because I just want to.
Sorry, Kwevi. Comrade Chimrenga, you can please go to the listeners and then go on the request. I've got so many requests, so I need to bring up those people. But I obviously some people will touch base on what you have said. I'll bring you up again. Just be on the request, so I'll be able to see you together with the others. So please go to the listeners for now. When you submit, you can go to the listeners guides, then put on a request, then I'll be able to see you. I'll bring you up again so that you can respond to people who might be rebutting on some of the things that you'll be saying, because I've got 10 people already, so I'm not able to bring up those who are requesting. All right. Sorry, Kevi, go ahead.
Okay, let me just explain it in short and also in Shona to make it quick. Nyaya iripo panyaya yavageza yesignal, I don't think kuti ndiyo vari the right person to call about the 31 March uprising. Nenyaya yekuti vageza ivo vanhu kana vakavatarisa, if you can see like relate panyaya yepolitics emuzimbabwe, matowns ese akabatwa neopposition and havade kunzwa chinhu chinonzi ZANU-PF. Vanhu vese vari kumusha vanoda chinhu chinonzi ZANU-PF and ikokoko ndiko kwakabata Emerson. And uprising tingangoti kupu ya2017 yakasumudzwa nevanhu vemumaguta. Vanhu vekumusha they just maybe vakatongozonzwa kuti ndo zviri kuitika kwaRara. But vanhu vemumatauni vanga vari padhuze naState House ndo vakafamba vakapinda mutauni vakavhara mastreets. So the thing is, if kan bombshell geza kana varivo vairevesa kuti vakati taura naChamisa vakataura nemamwe mapolitical players, I think it was good semaonero angu inini kuti vaite nyaya dzavo kubackground, vaita nyaya dzavo kubackground, then Chamisa as a person, because ndiye anonyanya kudiwa navanhu vakawanda, he have to open his mouth once and for all, and Harare will be closed. But anenge ane backup yearmy, although vachiziva maplan nemapapers avanenge vakasainwa kuti akasainirana zvakati nezvakati 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 nezvakati, they will do it later, but after Chamisa apa a signal, but signal yake iri backed nearmy, Harare inovharwa ka1 and Mnangagwa inobva yaita history the same day.
All right. So, Kevin, you are suggesting that the signal is supposed to come from the opposition, or you are saying the signal is supposed to come from the opposition and the army. What are you saying?
Opposition and the army, backed by the army. Although if they are going to put someone in the leadership...
Is that possible? Is that possible, though, Kevi, that the army can issue a signal together with the opposition when there is another sitting government in Zimbabwe? How can the army do something like that?
It might be difficult, but remember on the last press conference of Mr. Geza, he said, we spoke to all political players, including Chamisa himself, Monzor, and there's another guy he stated there, meaning there is something that they can do together. They see the impact of the opposition to their uprising, because now the people are still afraid of what happened in 2017, because Changirai was included, and I think all the promises, nothing happened. Because I think Changirai was given, was supposed to be given something in the Mnangagwa government. And when those guys came in, I think they said Chinichedu, like what others were saying, Chinichedu, 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 and they closed the gap. So we have disputed elections all along until today. Now Chamisa is nowhere to be seen.
All right, Kevi, I think your point is very clear. We get the point.
Yeah.
And let us hear what other people think about what you have just said. So you were suggesting that you see, because of the popularity of the opposition and Advocate Nelson Chamisa,
yes,
a signal that is issued without his endorsement is weak. And also, if that endorsement is not, strategically aligned to the military in Zimbabwe. I think that is what you said, right?
Yes, very correct.
All right. So Kevin, wait a moment. We will be, discussing on that. Let me go to Boss Salani. So Boss Salani, I think you've heard already from, Advocate Nelson Chamisa indicating that, anybody that would want to, to invite to talk to him. He did not say, I will be talking to people. He said, anybody that seeks to talk to me, my door is open. But with regards to these political developments, he has no knowledge of any conduct with anybody. Who is that now? Martin. Martin is just talking randomly there. All right, Boss Solani. So we had that in terms of the opposition. And VP Chiwenga himself has been, we have seen the videos of yesterday with President E.D. Mnangagwa, and yet Comrade Geza is saying he is speaking on behalf of the VP. And the word bullshit itself has been used in his submissions. If you listen to most of his submissions, he has used that word. And do you think that the VP would want to be associated with that word? And do you think it is relevant? Do you think it is meaningful? Or what is your take when it comes to who should be giving this signal? Do we need the signal at this particular moment? And how should people get that signal in the middle of the second term of President Idi Mnangagwa? Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much, Hulu. Do you mean the burushit signal? Is
Bullshit.
burushit?
Signal.
That's how he says it.
I never said it that way. I never said it that way.
But that's
But
how he
well,
says it,
I'm
though. He
getting,
doesn't
I'm
say
getting,
bullshit.
I'm
He
getting
says
the sense.
burushit.
I'm getting the sense. I'm getting the sense. Yeah. So he did use that word, and here we are. And he's calling on the 31st of March for people. To uprise in the streets. Do you think the signal is strong enough? Is here with the people that on the 31st people can then respond to the bullshit signal? What is your take? Go ahead.
Of course. Thank you so much for the space. Yeah. I mean, guys, a lot of things are happening. I have to be honest. Hulu, did you also notice that DJ Ola has been arrested? Remember, there's this issue that's going on between Mudiwa Wood after what's his name, Rolly Ten said a lot of things.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things happening, and apparently he's been arrested. So he'll be spending the weekend incarcerated. And remember, DJ Ola also is a type of journalist who invites people to speak, right? And then you can never tell because his shows are live, like on Facebook. So a lot of the times, if someone is saying something, you'd never know kuti munhu achatichi. So it kind of makes you think with okay, a lot of people are saying, oh, they're trying to divert us from the, Comrade Geza scenario. And I can understand why people would think that, but I don't think Zimbabweans vanotadza kuita multitask kana kuti vane slow concentration level. Surely a number of things can be happening at the same time, and it should never change your stance. Zvakafanana nekuti, anyway, I don't want to go there because vamwe tinozofunga kuti pamwe bedroom you don't function if nothing else is something else is not working, and that's not the case. So it shows that people can function no matter what's happening. But I just wanted to put that in because parikuita panika link and vamwe vari kubva vati vada kuti divert from the 31st thing, Geza thing. Now, when you look at what's happening with the Geza issue, first and foremost, the army has also spoken. There's a statement, I believe it's been confirmed, Panama Stem Obo, which appears to be from the Defense Forces, and they're talking about how it is illegal for someone, a civilian, basically, or someone who's retired, to wear the army regalia. And this is what Geza had. Abana avokuzo mention out Ani, right? But we all know because we saw the recording that came through from Comrade Geza. He was wearing what looked like army attire, and they put out that statement. And I'm kind of thinking that that might be a way yekutoratidza vanhu kuti tiri kuobserva zviri kuitika. And it might be kakuda kutaura kuti tichange pamwe they're also preparing to be in the streets come the 31st. Who knows how these people operate, Hulu. What Geza has not done is told people or showed people that it is secure or it's safe to be on the streets. The reason I'll say this, I'll give examples of why I'm saying this. When he initially spoke to Blessed Mtlanga, who's currently incarcerated, he said that you would not get arrested. So if it means you're not you will not be arrested. He's giving you the thing that Yekuti Mapurisa are on their side or whatever mechanisms he has would definitely not allow for your arrest. But guess what? Blessed Mtlanga has been incarcerated for more than 20 days now. And then the moment Geza comes back after 20 something days of his incarceration, he mentions Kuti, we want Blessed Ntlanga to be released with immediate effect. Immediate effect is not what is now. And then he added, or else. Guess what? The Friday, actually, was it not Friday? Blessed Ntlanga was extended. His stay in incarceration has been extended. This is not fair because already kana Geza ari kungoramba achingotaura zita raMhlanga kutokonektesawo himself naMhlanga, if you understand what I mean. And there's no way now that Blessed Mhlanga is going to be released anytime soon because already zvakutoreva kuti his release would make people think kuti Geza ane simba. Do you understand what I mean, Hulu?
So the government will not want that to happen. If anything, they're going to prolong his stay because their point is kuratidza vanhu kuti Geza hana simba. And this is exactly what we're seeing, and this is what people have been asking kuti munhu uyu ari kutaura izvi ane simba here? And the onus is now on Comrade Geza to show that he's got power, because everything he's done up to now has been just talk, and talk is cheap. So the question then becomes, are people willing to go into the streets because of talk? If you want to compare what happened in 2017, SB Moyo, when he said, Kuti, be calm, this is whatever, we have done this, we have done this, everything that he was saying he had done or he would do, takaona zvichiitwa. You understand what I mean? Will you remember that 2017, Papa ZBC, when he was speaking? Everything that he was talking about, kuti zvichadai, zvichidai, zvakaitika sazvo. Comrade Geza, on the other hand, everything he said, hapana chandati ndaona chabudirira. You know, zvikanzi hamusunge muri kusungwa. Zvikanzi munofanira kubudiswa muri kugariswa. You tell me that what is it that people have seen that makes them want to go into the streets? And then to make matters worse, when he mentioned that Ana Chamisa, Ana Monzora, Ana Komicha, Ana so and so we are in talks with them. Chamisa then, when he's asked by someone on X, ukuthi hanzi munoda Chiwenga president or something, he blatantly says ukuthi ine nangu door angu riri open for everyone, chakuti, right? And then he goes to say, but I have not been involved in recent dialogues with anyone. So already Chamisa ari kutaura kuti handisi kuzviziva. And then he says, I don't want to be made the focal point of things that have nothing to do with me. So are you telling me, Kuti, this fight, the kind of fight Rema citizens or whatever is being proposed, he's basically saying, "Ajine." And I don't blame him also for putting out that statement. For those, you know me, I've always been regarded as anti-Chamisa. But with all due respect, this is someone who's wanted by the police, Anonzi Comrade Geza, based on his utterances, right? Any form of communication you have with him or know about his whereabouts, you get imprisoned. So I don't blame Chamisa for even saying "Kuja hari kutaura kuti hapana chandiri kuziva." And I was on a space yesterday where other people are saying, I'm so ashamed of Chamisa. How could he say that? And I'm thinking to myself,
Nah, but Chamisa is
don't you see,
empowered.
excuse me, I'm still talking. Ndikati, Iwewe, don't you see also that there's danger in the fact that Anonzani Comrade Geza started mentioning people's names? In 2017, hapana zita ratakaziva hulu. Things were done in secret. We later found out that opposition people knew about what was coming. But here is someone who's basically throwing names as if it's Christmas. Kungema Christmas presents are kudisha out. But look at the environment, it's not conducive. Right now, everything is on high alert. The army, the police, everyone. Vatori on high alert. So there's need to have a certain class. This is not kusango, kwakaenda na baba vedu hulu. You understand what I'm saying? This is a different, ya sango re Zimbabwe, ma streets, urgona. It's a and I feel like he's not bringing that into consideration, that the tactic has to be different. It has to go with the times. And I don't know, Kuti, who is working with him, to be honest with you, because I'm sure they would have advised in various ways how certain things should be handled and things like that. But of course, I respect the man because he's a war veteran. And you know, I've got great respect because our fathers were war veterans. They fought in the liberation struggle. That's why you hear me continue to call him Comrade Geza. I will never lose respect for him. But I also feel that I think what's happening now, people need to be very alert. People shouldn't just rush into something because of their emotions. Because munokwadzwa, to be honest with you, and if we know the regime for what it is, it does not lose sleep when our brothers and sisters are wallowing in prison or when people are being buried. They don't lose sleep, Hulu. They keep going. That is what a regime does. So I think there's a lot more that we need to find out about what is being planned. And of course, people are saying he cannot reveal, he cannot what. But guess what? He's been revealing people's names. And most of the people he's talked about are coming through and saying, I haven't communicated with him. So if anything, it's quite contradictory. So I think we really
Yeah.
need to be careful. Yeah, I'll end there for now.
I get you. Let me hear from another lady. And of course, this is a developing story, ladies and gentlemen. This is about our country. This is about our people. This is another day and another hour we discuss these issues. So, Boss Salani, is submitting that indeed many people need to be aware of the tactics, the strategies and things like that. I think for those who may be privy to the liberation struggle and ZANU PF and how our country works,
Oh yeah,
will
sorry, Hulu.
probably
Before I forget,
agree with her. Uh-huh.
sorry, Hulu. There
Uh-huh.
was a space apparently yaifana kwenda ya Jed. Why is it was cancelled? I mean, it doesn't Geza want to speak to the public? If you could help
Uh,
us
I'm
with that.
I'm not sure about that. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Then let's go to Mimi. Just to give our women an opportunity to speak. For those who are requesting, guys, we'll be bringing you shortly, Zulu, and you'll be assisting me in terms of making sure that it happens. We can have. You see the number of people who are requesting. We want to hear what they have to say. So we'll be moving thick and fast with our speakers. And if you want to speak again, you can remain there on the request, guys. We'll be seeing you and we'll be bringing you up. Zulu is doing a fantastic job. Right, Mimi, welcome to the space. It has been very long, Mimi, since I last spoke to you. Unjani. Mimi, press that button. Maybe you have forgotten how to press it. And unmute yourself.
Uh,
We are going.
Sanibona.
You're speaking by yourself.
I am back. I'm back. Excuse me. Uh-huh.
Okay. What's up, Mimi? How are you?
Sanibonani
Long time.
mazimbabwe amase. Ulu, how are you? It's been long, my brother.
I'm
Linjani
very
bakithi?
good.
Nahi
That's all right.
kuhle.
Yes.
Good
Mm.
evening, Zimbabwe.
Yeah. So
Ngithemba niphilile.
yeah, we have the topic there, Mimi. What is your take?
Hey, my take, Ulu, is that Mina, I believe Geza is already given the signal. But now the issue is, as Zimbos, are we really ready to take to the streets? And I'm also getting a different sentiment on the ground. I was talking to people back at home. Kobulawayo, they are saying, you see, Mimi, in as much as we can take part on this protest, we fear being used. Geza himself is not clear on his communication. We don't know who will be coming in, who will be going. As was, we fear the repeat of 2017. So I don't know. I hear people saying, Yebo, this is an uprising. He cannot give a clear communication. But people on the ground, bayasaba ukusetshenziswa kuyithiswa ngithi, they fear we'll do the same. We are bringing back ZANU PF. The system will remain the same. So I think there should be a better communication. If at least he can communicate with the people in a better way, maybe they can take part. Angazi ngiyabonga Ulu, I will be very brief. Ngiyabonga.
Yeah, and Mimi, you see, Zulu, all the three ladies on the speakers, we don't drop them, leave them there so we can hear and we can have a balanced, debate. So the gentlemen who are on the speakers, guys, when you speak, we will be putting you on the listeners because we have a host of requests there. Welcome to the space. Also to my homeboys that I see there, they will be speaking shortly, including taxi driver. And all of you that are requesting, we see you guys. We are going to be bringing you shortly. As soon as the men speak, we will be dropping them, and then the men can go on the request again, and we'll bringing you up again. So, Mimi, in terms of, just briefly before I move to Munya, right? I want to find out from you in terms of how do you think the signal is supposed to be given? Do you think we need that signal? Do we need it from Comrade Gaza?
He's supposed to be clear on his communication. People need to know why are they going to the streets, Ulu? Who will be coming in? Because remember, Ekaya Ulu, into corner, we need a change in the system. The system is rotten, man, Ulu. So what people are saying, but no, Mimi, look, in as much as we can go to the streets, we can do this, but are we not replacing the same dictator with another dictator now? Because you know how these guys work, Ulu. So I don't know, Angazi Ulu, maybe I might be wrong here and there, but I believe his communication is not effective. he could at least have come to that space as Gerard and tried to explain to people to say, this is where we are going, this is what we want as people. And it's
All right, Mimi. Well, we hear you, and that's the reason why we are having this discussion, ladies and gentlemen. The hope we have, us and our children and our children's children, let it be the same hope they have all others and their children and their children's children, those whose homes we will never know, and those whose nations we will never visit. For the hope of a Zimbabwean child must be universal, because this is about our people. It is about our country, Zimbabwe, and this is yet another day and another hour we discuss these issues together. It is just 10 now, 11 minutes to 9 in Harare, PM, and also the same in our great city of Bulawayo at 11 minutes to 9. And the discussion continues. Munya, come through. Go ahead.
Wow, Ulu, long time no see. But
Yeah, wangor kunyanya kushanda munya uchita mari shamari. And
yeah,
unanguva neshamari dzako handiti.
why report? Turbo advantage
Unenguva
with South Africa.
yekurova chibhanzi chete shamari.
Eze ndiri remote far nditotombotorero advantage zvinoita machina kunyika kwedu tiri kumaini kunoku South Africa
Yeah,
tototorerwa nekuro kuma advantage zvatiri kuitwa umusha.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, go ahead, Munya.
So I think comrade Geza are relevant at the moment. Because chatiri kuda tinongoda ka small tinongoda ka distraction kangoti vanhu ava ne toda ka distraction kengoti
Munya,
atiza edu
chii chiri
apa
kuitika kumamaini kwako ukoko here?
makadi
Masaundi echii iyoyo?
aya ndiri kutaveni sorry ndiri kutaveni
Chimbosiyana nezvauri kuita Munya, utaure zvakanaka.
I think comrade Geza
All right, Munya, go
I
ahead.
think comrade Geza is relevant ne because takashaya hope kana kuopposition kuti wana grip papi yepower kana andiri kuona saka pakaitika infighting isusu tirongopinda isupporta but pasina hapo zvedu tibaya time because tiri after independence kaisusu hatakurwa hondo anditi vana vanotaura ntonga chete ndovakarwa hondo anditi and the process yeindependence yenhige yemavhotes aishande yenhige yeballot box andikuona. So I think comrade Geza nezvaari kuita at the moment tombomirawo ndosaka tichimbomhanyawo nawo kuti comrade Geza ari kutomira nesu ari kutoonawo but nyange zvazvo achizivawo vachizviitira iwo kuti vakaraswa kusaidi nditi vanga vasina chavari kuruma vangona huru ndaida kutaura zvimwe ndakadhakwa saka I don't want to talk much.
Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear you, that, my friend. So look after yourself. Make sure that you are safe and also drive safely or walk safely home. And don't be too naughty there in the tavern, because bad things can happen on a weekend, right? So take care, right? Thank you. All right. We move on to Chief Gutu. Then I'll go to research the others we are bringing you thick and fast very soon. Guys who are requesting, Zulu is doing a fantastic job on that part. Chief Gutu, how are you?
Yes, Ulu, how are you?
Makazogadzirisa here mugwagwa kwagutu uya unodarika neparoi.
Usati wagadzirwa.
Achingori mapothole here nokuti ramai akadriver on that road and mataya ake 6 akaputika ipapo.
So far hatisati tagadzirisa all roads ari kugadzirwa akatarisa kwane mbudzi iya kune national independence.
Okay. All right, Chief Gutu. So we do have a topic there, my friend, and the people are listening to you. Please speak to us. What is your take? Do you think we now have the signal? Do you think people are going, to the streets on the 31st of March?
Thank
Little bit
you.
disastrous.
Okay, I'll talk in Sean. I think
Martin,
I'll
there's a
be very
problem
quick.
with Martin, really.
I'll be
There's a
very
problem
quick.
with Martin. Martin, it seems like he can't hear us. He just comes to the speakers and just talks randomly. Uh, Zulu, can you probably communicate with him in the DMs to inform him that we want to hear from him, but the way he's speaking is so random and it becomes disruptive. But he's a good friend. We want him. We want to hear what his thoughts are. But this, I mean, he's very disruptive. So Zulu, help me on that one. Thank you. Chief, good to go ahead.
I think panyaya signal yageza, I think the signal is very weak, and Geza is fighting a lone battle that we can't join him. Was we'll go back to the 2017 ekuti inozongodzokera because we want to change the system. That's our fight. We want to change the system that is happening in Zimbabwe. So as long as we are fighting with Geza, the system remains the same because the guys are all the same. Vakangofanana. Tiri kungochinja hembe toipindurudza toti yachena, which is bad. So we need the system reri kufanira kuchinja. Saka signal yageza, I don't think it's signal. I think I was listening to Boss Salan pavanga vachitaura. I think she was talking sense. Hapana signal yatinenge tichiti iripo so far. We are following someone ane ma own interest, my self interest aroda kuseva because he's been sidelined nevamwe vake vaifunga kuti tiri pamwe chete, then wozoona kuti ndasidelinwa, then wobva wadedzera vamwe. Sometime ago ndaimboverenga nyaya yakanyorwa naKwabelani Mabhiko, kana ndichirangarira, yekunzi running the race of life, yekuti pane vanhu vanozodaidzira but they don't want to help others. Pataichema chiti zvinhu zvakaoma vaiti zvanga zviri right. Now that it's now their turn yekuti vachisafa nechisafiswa the very same people vaifunga kuti vari right vakuda kuti tivajoin. I think for now we can remain suffering zvatiri kuita tichimirira our own time kuti tizvibatsire, kwete yageza hapana kwatinenge tichienda, tinenge takangomira panzvimbo imwe chete because system iyoyo imwe chete iyoyo painozouya pana Geza inenge yamota kudarika zvayanga iri. You can look at Ngoya Bob, zvinhu zvazvo zvakaita kunge zviri tight, but now zviri more tight kudarika zvazvo zviri pangoya Bob. We are suffering kudarika zvatanga tichiita. Now tikadzosera the very system iyoyo, even general, we are singing from the same script and funga kuti pane chinochinja. Asi problem ndeyekuti hatina opposition yakasimba, hatinawo vamwe vakasimba vanokwanisa kutibatsira. So that's why vanhu vakungoda kungoti ngatiite zvageza izvo, but hapana kwatinenge tichienda. The guy is fighting a lone battle. Yaanotsvaga vamwe vanhu vanomubatsira but handioni panenge pane chinotibatsira ipapo. Let's leave him alone.
All right. All right, Chief Guter. I think your point has been had. Is it fine if I can then ask the people what they think about what you have just said? Is it okay, Chief Guter?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, and then because also of the number of requests, we may have to put you onto the listeners. You can come back again to the request, and then we will be seeing you. As long as you're on the request, we see you guys, and Zulu is going to be bringing you up shortly. So we will be reshuffling like that. So research, here we are. Chief Gutu is saying that at the moment it is better for people to continue suffering while they wait for real change, because the change that is being promised by Comrade Geza, it just looks like it is only him and him alone on this crusade. What is your tech research when it comes to this? Do you think Comrade Geza has got people behind him? Do you think that he's speaking for himself? Do you think that the 31st March Zimbabwe Uprising is going to be a dumb squib? What is your take? Go ahead.
Okay, my take is that I don't think that Geza has got people on his side, but possibly he may have the army on his side. Because you know what is happening, ndechekuti chakachenjedza ndechakatanga. The army is in quandary. Even if they want to start another coup, SADC won't give them chance or won't allow that to happen again. So their plan possibly is that they want people to go on the streets. Then when they are being beaten, they protect them. And then they will think that it has come from the people. So that is my thinking, though there is no evidence. Because that is what I think that Geza is trying to take that way. But now, let me contribute. My take is that the strategy which is being used or which people are calling for is not proper for Zimbabwe. You don't use military to take power because that thing Chirabashita Rike, even Mugabe, the dictator, before he left, he told them that go to the people, to the Congress, so that you won't put the army ahead. Because the army nepfutika vanouraya saka vanenge vachingozotora power pavanodira. So Geza, for me personally, I don't agree with his strategy because he is from the military side. Even Chiwengwa, if he wants to use the military to take over the government, I don't agree with him because we need to normalize our system such that we can have a politics that is inogara ichienderera isina conflict. Now, analyze the statement of Geza. Geza number 1 is talking about uprising. Ulu, what is uprising? So that is the mistake number 1 which Geza has done. He has blocked the way for every person who may have wanted to join him. Because from tomorrow, anyone who is going to support Geza is going to be charged for treason because they are planning for an uprising. So he's the one who has destroyed that bridge that we would have wanted. What Geza should have done was for him to push for the demonstrations that are allowed by the constitution, but he has decided to use a heavy term. So I will tell you that even within this media that we are speaking about these issues, there are some people who will be also targeted for supporting Geza's initiative just because it's treasonous, because he's talking of uprising. So uprising, according to the constitution, may not be allowed. That's not to say that I'm intimidating people, but what I'm saying is it is a lack of strategy from Geza that when he did everything, he just assumed that everything is okay. But however, Geza is managed to widen the challenges within ZANU-PF. Because look at what he said within that particular script. He said that there is evidence that some generals who passed away, they may have been killed of some sort. So that means to say that there won't be a trust between Chiwengwa and his boss. And even if Chiwengwa is to take and the boss is there, do you think the boss will be safe? So it means from today onwards, expect conflicts to strengthen between these people within the ZANU-PF. And that particular gap is actually going to destroy them. So what I'm saying is that everything that is taking place is vindicating that ZANU-PF is a violent party. Violent party in the sense that they are now deciding uprising there. They now want to topple the... Now it's like we feel for Mnangagwa because he is the one who is the coup and now is now turning against him. That is why we are saying stop the coup, because even if we put Chiwengwa plus Nelson Chamisa, the coup will come back again against Nelson Chamisa. So that is why we are saying this issue should be resolved amicably using the law. Finally, let me conclude by saying that Geza, when he started, he was good. He was said Mnangagwa is overstayed. That is the thing which people were going to support him because they don't want him to go beyond 2028. But now he's saying he should go now. Now he is coming up with something which is not able to support. That is why we are saying, let's deal with one thing at a time. But now he has messed around everything. Now my conclusion is, come 31, 31st, the only support that is likely to get is for the army. But the army cannot come when people are not there. Maybe the strategy was people go then the army will only protect the people, they keep quiet. So that is the strategy which can work for them. Otherwise, SADC won't allow them to take power directly like what they did last time. So I am not saying to his supporters what he's doing is bad. Like my tone is just like that of Salani. That they should not. I'm not saying that way. Let them do that. That is their democracy. But we don't want that evil strategy of unrest. What is unrest? The people who start dying are your relatives. And tomorrow it won't be a problem to hear that Hulu has been arrested because he is supporting this unarrest. That is the same thing which happened to Blessed. He is trying to trap people with, so he should read the laws. What did they say? Then technically he can come up with a strategy. Thank you, Hulu.
All right, thank you, research. And before I go to taxi driver, let me just go to Tawanda. He has been here for long, and Bosolani and Venancio, I see your hands. I'll be coming to you shortly, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are joining us, thank you for joining me. Hulu at Pachiso Live, and this is a discussion we carry, and our people are here to talk about it and to put it into analysis. So, Tawanda, when it comes to the submission of research, he's coming up with something slightly different from the others. He's saying that Comrade Gaza initially he spoke against the 2030 agenda, which is something that resonates with many people, even within ZANU PF, because President Mnangagwa did, won the vote in 2023 according to the ZEC, was declared the president. So now, Comrade Geza is now saying the 31st of March should actually be an uprising against the president. So, in other words, to remove the president from power before the end of his tenure. And that, according to research, is another ball game altogether. It is another thing altogether. He could have called for demonstrations against the 2030, against 2030, rather than asking for the president to go now, because that in itself creates a constitutional crisis. What is your take, Tawanda? Go ahead.
Is Mnangagwa a president, or he went through a 2023 rigging the elections, which was denied by SADC? Why?
Martin asuri kumwa ningi vanoiti chi kumozambiki
Ndoimwa
watiri
iyoyo
kumozambiki
idi anawina maelections
indwa
2023
Martin
saka
ndwe Martin
ndipresident wani
asuri kumwa ningi iyi yakaita mvura iyi doro rakaita mvura taxi driver rinonzi chii riya
ndoramumwa
redoro riya
damai
ronzi chii doro riya rakaita mvura taxi driver rinokuwadza pfungwa
wish
riya
wish
ari kumwa kachazo
Ya, kacha.
ndozvinoda vasina mari but munangagwa ndipresident here ndauza chokwadi kana muchiita uchimuna mayouth auraye vanhu. What elections are there in Zimbabwe? What are you? Why do you have vanhu vari kuita corruption? We have got minerals. Why do you want to play with the people's lives? Why are you not? Why don't you have a heart? When we start reasoning as people, why did we went to war? Why did our father? Why did my sister or our family suffer in that war? After all, I'm
All right,
sorry, my brother.
Martin. That's fine.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Anzi, why do we have a heart?
Rinokuvadza hati kadoro riya ningi bosalani rekachasi rekumozambiki.
Ndokwandiri wani ndiri mueurope ndiri muafrican but munangagwa nganyare ngasi chigaro cheche kana tangirai kana vachiita maproblems emaelections haafa kuafecta vanhu mavhendors ngaatengese zimbabwe
All
ngaitengese
right.
mamillions achiita physics printers kune ruri anodada naye pano nejava vachida kudanira nyika vanhu vachitambura zisi kushanda ini muinjiniya ini kune imi muri zvimakazvidzidza inoshanda nemaoko angu handimimi nemari yemunhu.
All right, my friend. Okay, thank you very much, Martin. So, taxi driver, Comrade Geza, is he the mouthpiece for which, the majority of our people Zimbabwe can trust? You heard what Mimi said earlier when she came up to the speaker saying that on the ground, it is not only her, but a number of other people are saying on the ground, people are saying, if I have to go onto the streets, what is there for me? And Comrade Geza himself calling for people to go on the ground. He has already stated what it is for him. uh, there is another topic that we are going to be discussing on Spaces with regards to how easy is it for Zimbabweans to be bought. It looks like it is easy. So Comrade Geza himself, within his apparatus, I mean, looking at his capacity, looking at his ability, I mean, does he have that ability to galvanize people to go onto the streets when he himself has left the country? We are looking here at 2017, for example. The Martin,
Hulu have been here for quite
Zulu, can
some
you
time
please put him
raising
to
my
the
hand.
listeners? Martin, wait. Uh, right. So, taxi driver, in terms of 31 March, Zimbabwe Uprising, do you think the signal is proper at this particular moment? Or you may probably share the same sentiments with research who said it has now become a treasonous offense and difficult for the generality of our people to probably support. What is your take when it comes to that?
Thank you very much, homeboy, and great to be back on your space. And I'll just make 2 points, but it is going to call for people to listen very carefully because I'm going to mask it in my view for those that would decipher can decipher it. Hulu, number one, if you want to know the unimportance of a communication, read the ultimatums, right? Number one. That's number one, Hulu. If you want to see and test your boss's power tomorrow, or whether they mean what they say, ignore their deadlines. Anything with a deadline is not important. I hope you take heed of what, or read what I'm saying. Anything.
You are saying anything with a deadline is not
It's
important.
not important, Hulu. Important things don't have a deadline. They get to be done today, now, in the moment. As long as you defer to a deadline, you are signaling to me that this thing is not important, right? That's number one. And I end there with that one. Number two, Hulu. I want to draw your attention to Laswell's linear communication model, right? It goes by this, Hulu. Who says what in which channel to whom to what effect, right? I'm going to structure my second point on this. Who is saying it? We know who is saying it. It's Comrade Geza, right? What does he say? He says the president must go. He says, let's get on the street, right? He uses his, very important, he uses his social media channel, right? Anyone can open a channel and just say anything. To whom is very important. He's not speaking to the generality of Zimbabweans, not at all. He's speaking to the president, right? To what effect? He told you in his first address or second address. He says, I want his motor. I want his Dr. Pindao. So it's not, I can completely tell you it's not about you. He tells you, but people don't read into these things. He tells you, that kind of, you read a lot from what people are saying. And much more importantly, Ulu, in things that they are not saying to you, right? Read what is he not saying here. He wants a car, he's saying it. What else is he not saying? To who? He's not saying, I want Salan to have a big car, I want Hulu to have a big car. He's saying, I want a big car. It's not about you.
Yeah, but
So, yeah,
taxi. That is one of the statements that he said. In other statements, he clearly stated that we want a corruption-free country. We do not want any Tom, Dick, and Harry to come to State House and corrupt the state house. He said that he expects that there can be a collage of of groups of Zimbabweans, including Nelson Chamisa, Wiwa Scala, Douglas Monson, and many others. I mean, coming together
Yeah, yeah.
to
Hulu. I,
to
I get
lead
your
the
point.
country. I mean,
I
like
get
he did also mention that, didn't he?
Hulu, I get your points, but they're very redundant and very, very redundant. Here is why. You talk of we don't want a corrupt country, but you want to gain advantage corruptly. He's saying we want to get in. It is not the president that gets him in, right? It is you, me, and masses that will have to vote him in. So he's saying, I want to get in through a corrupt way, but we don't want this corrupt. So he's saying, we don't want corruption if it doesn't benefit me. That's what you have to read into this, Hulu. That is the message. Focus on what he's not telling you. You get the message. The guy is telling you, I want a big car, I want to gadwa, to pindao. Nemamwe makomres, to pindao. He says that. That is fundamental point, right? Which is very pivotal to what he's saying to you.
Yeah,
But
but taxi driver, for the sake of our audience, remember I need to give a balanced discussion, and I can as well here and there challenge some of the things that the speakers are saying. So if Comrade Geza says that he wants to get in as well, he wants a good car as well, is that not the wish of every Zimbabwean? I mean, I'm asking you this question because, the accusation is that, or the allegation is that only people such as Wikno Chivayo, Scott Sakpranya, Tekudakwa Shitagwire are having opportunities in this economy. We want everybody in Zimbabwe to have the same opportunities, and including Comrade Geza. So, including yourself, including myself, including everybody else. So, is it wrong if somebody suggests that I also need a good car in this economy because our country is rich? Is that wrong?
Hulu, there's nothing wrong about wishing something good for all Zimbabweans, right? We all want good things. I wish good things for you, good health and a good life for everyone, every Zimbabwean that goes out there. For me, that's the message. That's my wish, right? But here, I'm analyzing what was said, right? I'll go back to the model, Hulu. He says, who says what? He told you exactly what he wants and who is included in his framework, right? He actually tells you to my comrades, to tongo chun chedu ichi." You ignore those things. They mean something. You heard that. Chunu chedu ichi. That means the hulu. Unfortunately, you and I are not in Geza's framework of thinking, right? To what effect? He gives you the effect. Tunatopindao. Chunu chedu ichi. The sense of ownership. Chunu chedu ichi. All right. Iye nani,
All right.
right?
You see, taxi. I think on your model, I agree. I mean, I get what your argument, which is an argument and which is accepted. Now, I want to find out from you. Uh, in terms of the signal, do you think that Zimbabweans need a signal and they need it right now? What is your take when it comes to the signal? Do you think Zimbabweans need the signal? And what is the signal according to you?
It depends, Wolo. That one is a bit difficult question for me without context. Signal to do what? To what end? I think I mean there's so many signals. Signal
Of
to
course,
build
it is it is a signal to restore legacy. In 2017, remember the coup, which is not a coup, came about with the promise of restoring legacy. And many in our country are saying that legacy was never restored. It was simply a replacement. And there's one speaker here who said it's just a matter of kuchinja hembe yako mkati wobva wangoti ndapfeka imwe hembe. You
All
see,
right, and Wolo.
so that's what we are saying. And
Oh,
another speaker said the situation right now has become worse than what it was during the time of President Robert Mugabe. So basically the signal is about restoring legacy, is about constitutionalism, is about those reforms. Remember, It is about those reforms. It is about restoring the state house as dignity, where individuals that are going to benefit out of our country corruptly are not allowed at state house. It is about dealing with corruption, which is a statement given by the president at his inauguration at the National Sports Stadium. It is about jobs, 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 which were promised by the president at the very stadium. It is about infrastructure that is completed, not what we have seen with the Bay Bridge to Harare Highway, which is still incomplete. So that is the signal, is it not so?
Ulu, when you ask, is it to restore legacy, right? For you to restore, initially it has to be there, right? I have to understand what you mean by restoring legacy. What is this legacy that we are restoring? It has to be there, number one, the legacy. Maybe there was no legacy then, and this is now the legacy. What is the legacy? I mean, these are people get caught up in big words, buzzwords that don't mean anything. That when you ask them, what are you restoring? That's why you find that the citizenship sort of gets excitable. Like in 2017, now they're saying, yeah, Takashanti squad, blah, blah, blah. It's because people don't ask these questions, right? They don't ask, what are we restoring?
All right, Taxi.
Right?
And
And our
let
land,
me,
you
yeah,
butted in, let me
land,
land.
and then yeah, I get you. It is an argument. Let me hear what the other speakers
Yeah, yeah,
think about it, so
yeah,
you
I'll
can
land.
land. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I'll land Ulu and say anything that has a deadline is not important. It is not to be respected. Even if your boss gives you a deadline, ignore it, and you will see they will extend that deadline. Now you know, this thing is not important. There is no signal here, Ulu. There's a lot of noises. I hear someone who wants to benefit unequitably and says Chinchedu Dao is maybe the president, in my view, maybe this is what is not telling you. And that's why I was saying you should go to what people are not saying. Maybe the president has tightened the screws. There's no access to things that some people were enjoying. Yeah, without due
Yeah.
respect of others. So maybe it's telling you. You also have to look at ndanzwa ulu achichema apa arohwa here kana kuti ndiye anga atsunya mumwe akazorohwa uri kuona manje saka you have to see kuti what is happening, dig deeper. So
All right.
no signal hulu. Remember who is saying what in which channel, to whom, to what effect.